Hello, everyone. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. We are back with more Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. The Jester enters the stage. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Who, sir, are you? William Shamspeare, my lord. Alas, 'twas I, undone by these bitter events. I am the victim. I don't know what this voice is I'm using, honestly. I kind of started this video on a whim and then just kind of did something. That's way different than what I used, but... What? What's he doing here? Oh, man. The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. With his testimony, my learned friend's futile resistance will be utterly crushed. You're calling him as a witness? Very well, counsel. I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself. Oh my god, look at this dude. Happy am I, Shamspeare, to regale thee with my tale of woe, my lord. But I still have my own tale to tell, my own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with the tale of my perfect innocence in perfect English. That will do, Mr. Natsume. Let the court now hear from the victim. Yes, victim. Okay. Already, this dude. Why are you here? Alright. So that's Mr. Shamspeare. But who's the other man beside him? What are you doing here? Why are you here? Yes, I feel sure that we've caught a glimpse of that man before. State your names and occupation for the court, please, witnesses. A writer of words so sweet they do scent the breeze, an inventor of ideas so profound they compose the earth. The unrivaled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare, were the great bard to be recalled to life anew. Lo, what a magnificent man! Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shamspeare. At your service. Oh, okay. Oh, oh wait, no, that'll sound too similar to what I have for Gregson. The name's Meterman. Adrian Bond Meterman. I work for the Altamount Gas Company, East End Branch Office. Yeah, that'll probably work. Well, I think that name's pretty on point. He's literally called Meterman. I don't think I have to look into that one too much. Ah, I remember now. It was yesterday on Briar Road. Oh, right, that was yesterday that we saw this man, technically. Oh, yes. She's right, it's him. Oh, wait, this is what they meant by yesterday. Okay, so the first time we saw him would have been 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah. We can skip this. This was only an episode or 2 ago. Or was it 3? Yeah, either way. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Man, getting down this dude's voice is going to be interesting. Yeah, so we spotted him outside Mr. Garrett's house that morning. And he's a gas company employee. What does he have to do with this case? So, Mr. William Shamspeare, you are the victim in this miserable affair, correct? Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember? That sweet poison that didst cross me and cross mine innocent lips? Look at this dude's shit-eating grin. I don't even know if I can call that shit-eating. That's like shit-devouring. I subpoenaed him for the trial, with his doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure. Behold, you have only to rearrange the letters of my name to see that me is a seraph, an angel indeed. Thus be I noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be. Because there isn't a less contrived meaning in your name? No, not at all. The jurors seem to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid. We're actually taking the seraph anagram idea seriously? We saw an entire new animation for juror number 2 there. Thank you, witnesses, for your illuminating introductions. I don't know how I remember every single animation that every single character had, but I certainly know when I spot a new one. But my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamspear? But, my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamspear doing here? The gas man, I mean. What, me? Oh, well now. Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, your early impertinence. When you suggested the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question. And, moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar. What? No, I didn't quite say that. This young chin-stroker is here to controvert your wild claims conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Meterman? Hey, no, I'm just here. I hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question. One may smile and be a villain. Yes, it doth pain me, but let the truth be spoken. The truth of that wintry night of my discontent. Man, this dude got animation budget up the butt. I feel like I know who were ever the modelers for this game were. I think I can easily tell who one of their favorites was. Witness testimony. The wintry night of my discontent. The snow lay about, my neighbour did cometh in the evening bearing a gift of tea. But merry bitter was his drink, and when he left I did fall prostrate on my table. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, naught else. I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. No one else visited his room but that short little round-backed Easton fella. I think that's about right. Wait, what did you say? You were keeping an eye on Mr. Shamspear's room all night. That's right. Of course, the bloke's window is all but blocked up, isn't it? But there's a little gap in the bricks where you can just see into the room. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering as I peered it through that. The question is, sir, why? Ah! Well now, that's because he's on my list. What a piece of work is a man! Wherefore wouldst thou not stare in wonderment? What are you talking about? This buzzing busybody hath no part in this play. I pray thee, pay him no heed, make no more ado about his tedious words. What did you say about me? Calm yourself. This court is concerned with what happened on the night in question. Nothing more. Indeed, that is so. And as the testimony we have just heard clearly reveals, there was no one other than the accused present at the time who could have carried out this crime. They do be whispering to each other. Well, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial. Bitch, it ain't.
Now, Counsel, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Alright. Cross-examination. Time to do this. Time to press the witness. To be clear, by neighbor you are referring to the defendant, Mr. Natsume. Oh, indeed, sire. Perchance thou wouldst that I call him the man from upstairs. And at what time did the mustachioed Nipponese visit you in your room? Our meeting was promised for the hour of 9, and lo did he come to tender a gift of fragrant tea. I gotta admit, I do like this dude's fit. And his facial animations and whatnot.
Details which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony, yes?
And we were broiled in such a literary debate as history hath not seen before. By which I presume he means their discussion about who is the stronger, Romeo or Juliet. I, Shakespeare, did play the part of young Romeo, whilst my neighbor played the fair Juliet. Each of us dressed as would our characters be, to bring weight upon our merry experiment.
I dare not imagine the scene.
Frailty, thy name is woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I had heard of the eastern arts of jujitsu, but ne'er did I dream 'twould be a skilled practice by the comely maiden. Juliet beat Romeo up? That is not helping our case. Yo, shoutouts to Natsume, frickin' sticking it. Short man got hands.
I believe the court has heard enough about your earth-shattering literary debate. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea that the accused brought to your room.
My liege, I am thy servant. Gladly I would do thy bidding. But merry bitter was his drink, and when he left I did fall prostrate on my table. Whoa, what? Let me stop you there. Mr. Natsume left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until after 2 that the poison made you collapse. That amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time. Oh my god, look at this animation! Yo, this is... Yo, I want to see a gif of this. Too bad I can't take away the frickin' text box. That would be amazing. Imagine if you were like a streamer and you had this as like a frickin'... as like a waiting screen. I don't know why, but this is what it reminds me of for some reason. If the defendant had really put the poison into your tea, that 3-hour window of time is something you're going to have to explain. Gladly, 'tis an easy task. What? I did drink of the tea not while my guest didst tarry, but after he took leave of me. Faith, 'twas stone cold, but at 1 hour post midnight, verily were my lips parched.
Objection!
Bum, 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 bum. That doesn't sound normal. Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sir, after all. Thou wouldst recall our fiery debates. Amidst such argument, there'd be no time for fiery tea. Romeo and Juliet again. And who was stronger?
Mr. Shakespeare, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your attacker?
But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stupid lover of words did attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil. We all know what that means. Alright, statement number 3. So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal? Dinner? Supper? Ha! Fie on luxury, fie on gluttony. To eat thrice daily is but a waste of time. Sorry? I would that my belly were full, no more oft than the sun doth rise.
Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say.
Night and day do I fill my hours with learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence it is that there doth not in my chamber be than the costumes of mine art.
That would appear to be the case, as even a rodent was found starved to death in your room.
Now I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from that room, is it? I don't recall seeing a single play or script anywhere. For I have devoured them all. Oh my god, this man eats paper. He is a child at school. You've eaten them? Every word be within my skull. Didst thou imagine otherwise? I can't believe this dude is Ray Shields. Right. That wasn't misleading at all. Now, could you turn around, do you think?
Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the tea.
I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. Now we get to talk to this dude. But the windows of that house have all been filled in. A historical artifact of the now defunct window tax.
Yeah, you're right there. All bricked up horribly. But as it happens, there's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom corner that's been opened up. I was looking in through that gap.
Yes, there were a few bricks loose, weren't there? And for some strange reason, a couple of bars of soap lined up on the ledge outside as well.
I don't like going around poking my chin in other people's business, especially on freezing cold nights. But them's my orders, so that's what I'll keep doing. As long as there's breath in my body.
Wow. What's with all the theatrics today?
Out of interest, Mr. Meterman, after the accused had left and returned to his own lodgings, did you see the victim leave the room at all?
No, he never left. He was in that room the whole time as far as I'm concerned.
And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide.
Sorry. How can you be so sure of that?
The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle for the poison. And since we know the victim didn't leave his room, and hence didn't dispose of the poison's container himself. Point. It's clear that this was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle. Ah, yes. Lucidly explained, Counsel. Thank you.
It really was. You can't argue with the logic. Alright. Last statement. Hold it! You say a short little round-backed Eastern fella. So you can't be sure it was the defendant, then?
Objection!
Are you hearing yourself, defense? How many other short little round-backed Nipponese with a mustache do you think there are in London?
Well, of course, it's only a narrow gap, and it was quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. But he showed up at around 9, so I'm pretty sure of myself. And when the person you saw arrived, did he and Mr. Shamspear drink tea together?
Nah, sorry. I couldn't say.
Why not?
Because I couldn't see into the room all that well, could I?
But what I did see was the silhouette of that little round-backed fellow wearing a pretty dress. Then the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match. I tell you, I didn't know what to make of it. I freaking love that as the camera pans, I saw, for a split second, I saw the face of Shamspear with his freaking big-ass mouth open. Goddamn mouth breather. Huh. I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway.
Mr. Meterman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question?
No question. Gasman's honor. Hold it. Whomst said that... Oh no. We're dead. We donezo. My lord! God, I have to think about... My lord! Goodness me, yes, Mr. Foreman. I've kept my mouth shut and listened up to now, but this has gone on long enough. Are you all with me? Yeah, yes, blah, blah. Are we to understand that you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are in agreement with one another? Oh boy, here it comes. That you've reached a unanimous decision. Too right we have. I just remember this dude's voice was like, guilty. Too right we have. Are you all with me? Yes. Wait, no, the defense is in the middle of a cross-examination. To be honest, I was holding out a bit of hope for you, young man. Especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room. Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it. But in the end, what difference do they make? None as far as I can see. And since that's now apparent, there's really no reason to delay our decision any longer. Like I was saying before, if I don't take Fine Bob home with me tonight, the missus will blow her top. Yeah? What's that? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said. Very well, let the court be apprised of your decisions. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings as to the defense's culpability. Alright, here's another chance for me to hear all the voices again, and refresh myself for juror voices.
Guilty!
Guilty.
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 Guilty. Guilty.
Huh. Okay. All of you? Well, it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous. Van Zykes is just like, I know it's coming next. So, this time at least it seems justice will be done. All's well that ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast, I feel. To the guilty being punished. Dead. Murdered. In cold blood. Get up, Mr. Naruto, please! Mashes the A button to stand up. The trial isn't over yet. What do you mean, Mrs. Sot? What do you think? What about the information I found in this Encyclopedia of British Law I have? That obscure right that belongs to the defense in these situations, remember? Well, I guess this is just in case people haven't played the first game. Summation examination. Yes, that's right. We don't have a jury in Japanese courts, of course. But here in the British court of law, if we can reverse the decisions of a majority of the jurors, we can force the trial to continue. Yeah. This trial can't end now. Stand up straight, my man. Whatever it takes, I just can't let that happen. The defense moves to invoke its right to a summation examination, my lord. Why am I not surprised in my learned Nipponese friend's inability to admit defeat? You choose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend, instead of accepting the truth. Certainly no other defense counsel in recent times has exercised the right to a summation examination. Because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered. Yeah, well, they were clearly stupid. Nevertheless, the right remains and must be upheld. The defense counsel's request is accepted and granted. This court will proceed with the summation examination, as outlined in the Encyclopedia of British Law. Thank you, my lord.
Are you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman? Believe me, my lord, we know all about this young lad's tenacity. Guilty, and we're ready for it. Very well. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands accused.
Alright, let's hit this. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. The victim may not be well off, but he's a noble man and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man. Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a mustache. Very fishy. Okay, juror number 3, I might have to take back what I said about you being my favorite if you use the phrase Japanese as a con. You know. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman, for now at least.
Oh, I really don't care, I just need this trial to end quickly. 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age.
Oh right, I forgot I have to use the Ronald Man voice, that's too close to the judge. 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know, nothing at all. That's all of them. I knew it. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. It would seem that all the jurors have come to the conclusion that Mr. Shamspeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen. If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements. Pans over to him doing his frickin' arm movements as he frickin' shimmies from side to side. And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all. Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I've pleaded with the jury on Soseki-san's behalf before and it worked, so you never know. Before we begin, it might be an idea for me to remind you exactly how a summation examen works, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. Well, you're still very new to British law, after all. That's true, I suppose, and Soseki-san's fate is entirely in my hands now, too. There's always a chance I might have forgotten some crucial detail. Perhaps I should hear Susato-san out. I wonder, should I let her talk me through it again, or not bother? Daga kotowaru. Thank you for the kind offer, Miss Susato. But I've been through plenty of these summation examinations already now. I think it's important that we don't delay the start any longer than necessary. Of course, I understand, and I'm quite sure you're right. If you're confused by anything at any point, you can turn to me for advice whenever you like. I'll be here for you. The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement. Finding two that are contradictory and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other.
Without further ado, please, counsel, proceed with the summation examination.
Yes, my lord. Alright, guys. Let's get it started. Cue the music.
Hold it!
Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars? I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example. Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar. Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was that Japanese man's tea. When you take the gas man's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer. Well, that's alarmingly logical. But let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's values. Your name isn't Frank, it's Bruce. If it turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defendant. Okay. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen on the jury would do the same, isn't that right? Well, yes, perhaps. Though I don't see it happening.
Here, what's that? Elderly gent on the end here, you know. You'll have to speak up.
Look, I don't really care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial over. How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? Alright, sir. I may hold you on that. Don't forget what you said. Huh. Huh. Okay. Alright. Oh, one sec. Sorry about that. The little lad wanted in. Whoop. Sorry.
Hold it!
I tabbed out slightly for a second in order to pause the recording. Are you saying you believe the man to be trustworthy because he's rather splendid? No, that's not what I said. The point is, the man is the victim here. What reason would he have to lie? And yes, he is rather splendid. So you say, yet again. Meanwhile, the man who stands accused behaves so suspiciously it's exhausting to look at him. Alright, I forget, you're a big old, what do you call it? You do not like the Japanese, to say the least. I'm afraid he's not splendid at all. Splendid logic there, madam. Thank you so much. Yeah. No, not one of those things is a reason to find the man guilty. Thank you. Jeez. Ryunosuke has the right idea. But he is fishy. There's no point dancing around the fact. He's Japanese, he has a mustache, and he stoops. You see, you arrive at the conclusion in just 3 steps. 3 steps. Like a waltz, in fact. No, I think you're just being big old bad energy. Bad vibes. Bad juju. You know, the more I think about it, the more this trial seems like a dance. You seem to be several steps ahead of yourself, though. And you're on the wrong foot. No, there's nothing but circumstantial evidence here. There's no actual proof to the defendant's guilt. But the victim's version of events is backed up by what the big chin man next to him says, isn't it? 1, he saw the Japanese man there. 2, he saw no one else. And 3, he saw the Japanese man there. Oh. That's another 3 steps. All this really does seem more and more like a waltz, doesn't it? That was 2 steps. You said the first and third one twice. You just said the first one twice, I should say. Right, and the prosecution will waltz its way to victory if I let you speak much more. Alright. You're a new juror, so I'm especially curious in talking to you. A fraudsman? What do you mean by that, madam? It really is a most tiresome problem for the company, most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us, but without hard evidence. We can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued. I'm sorry, you've lost me a little there. Who are you? I'm the wife of Augustus Altamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company.
Good gracious, Altamont Gas, you say?
Gas is the future of energy in this country and around the globe, but proper handling is essential. As I'm sure our employer from the East End branch office would be the first to agree. Oh my... Queen Bee. Oh my god.
Absolutely, Lady Quinby. Gotta be used properly. Altamont Gas is the best in the world, of course.
I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow from earlier, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, he bowed in deference to his employer's wife, did he? So, would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meataman was watching what Mr. Shamsbury is up to in his room? I'm afraid that there's no end to the lengths the population of the East End will go to in order to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies someone as a possible fraudsman. But to dispatch a a worker to watch the suspect day and night. We're very thorough in our investigations.
So you mean Mr. Shamspear has...
I wouldn't come out and say it in public. But you can finish that sentence with a grubby little gas thief. You haven't noticed the public gallery in here, have you? The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin? But seraphs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song. We may not have evidence yet, but my workers won't stop buzzing around you until they find it. And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in an ultimate gas explosion. So Mr. Shamspear has been stealing gas. I wonder, Juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement. My pleasure. Was it the bit about ripping that thief apart you enjoyed? A little before the part about abject violence, if it's not too much trouble. Yes, of course. I think I've got a good voice down for that lady. A lady that can get pissed off. This could be it. This could shift the balance. The victim puts on a fine performance, but in reality is a common thief of my company's gas. Let's just get this out of the way. I guess this? Would this work? Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 1.
What are you yelling at me about, lad?
I presume you've heard Juror number 4's statement, made by the wife of the owner of Ultimate Gas. Ultimate Gas. Oh my god, it's Ultimate. Ultimate. Ultima. Frickin'. Okay, now I know how it's pronounced. It's Ultimate. Okay.
Well, yes.
The victim, who you claim to be a noble, straight-up man, in fact, turns out to be a common thief.
So the good lady says, but there's no evidence, is there? You and I both heard them say as much.
It's true, we don't have any evidence as such, yet. But the claims aren't baseless, you know.
What?
You heard me. Seeing as his operation has already been compromised, I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End branch office employee over there.
I'll do whatever you say, my lady. Gasman's honor.
Bow. Wow, his freaking table slam synced with the music there. Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word. If I could show that Mr. Shamspear is a liar, you assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt.
Yes, I did say that. And as a man of honor, I'll hold to it, as I'm sure the other gentlemen of the jury will.
Me? Oh, well, yes. Oh, are we actually doing this in one thing? Now that we found out the man's a liar, perhaps we ought to reconsider the matter further. Consider the matter further.
Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you've all been saying. So if this means you'll recap a few points, that would suit me down to the ground. Oh no, I'm not having any part of this. I want this trial over and done with.
In that case, I shall change my leaning.
So, Mr. William Shamspear, if that is your real name, we of the jury demand to know exactly what kind of a man you really are.
Boom, 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 boom. Tipping the scales in one fell swoop. Adios. That's 4 jurors. 4 for not guilty. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Victory! Victory, victory.
Order, 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 order. Well, this is quite extraordinary, I must say. As a result of the defense's summation examination, the jury's leaning has changed. Now only 2 jurors say guilty, whilst 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of disaccord, and order the trial to continue.
Get destroyed. You're gonna crush it? You're gonna throw it? What you gonna do? Cry about it. Cry about it. Oh, there it goes.
You have spoiled the bouquet, Mr. Shamspear.
Covers his ears.
The ladies and gentlemen of the jury now find they are unable to trust you, the victim.
Hear no evil, see no evil.
But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. So God mend me, I do swear. This gasman speaketh that which concerns him most, naught but gas, naught but thin air. Aye, it burneth bright a while, but it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul.
Oi, what did you say? Do I take it, Mr. Shamspear, that you deny the allegations of gas thievery?
Most heartily, my lord, hast thou forgot? I am as a seraph an angel, noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart.
Oh, you flowery-mouthed, pompous beanpole! Just 'cause I haven't got the evidence yet. Mr. Shamspear? If, in fact, you are not noble of mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony should have no sway in this courtroom.
It is my considered opinion that at the present time no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. All testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on the case.
Oh no.
Right, the judge himself can just rule on the case.
However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of this witness, I believe it would be inappropriate for this court not to pursue the point further.
Objection!
Get owned, get owned. Cancelled, ratioed. Cry about it. I don't know.
I assure you, my lord, that that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas in this case are unrelated.
Juror number 4. Yes? Didn't you say before that although you had no hard evidence to prove this man had been stealing gas, you have strong grounds for suspecting him? That's right, we do. Don't we, worker? Absolutely, Lady Quinby. Gasman's honor. Gasman's honor.
Very well, then. You will tell the court precisely why you believe the victim, Mr. William Shamspear, has been stealing gas.
Yes, my lord. It'll be my pleasure. If I may, my lord.
Go ahead, madam.
This worker's testimony may have a significant bearing on the good name of my husband's company. Therefore, I should like to take the stand alongside him in a supervisory role, if you wouldn't mind. Woohoo! Oh yeah, sweet as honey. Yeah. I had an epiphany just now that this guy this guy's cleft chin and closed and small eyes reminds me of Popeye. So I'm gonna try to make a Popeye voice. Just because I feel like it.
Very well, as an exception, I shall honor your request.
Thank you, my lord. You know, I feel like there's a lot of bias in this courtroom from the jurors. You wait till the boss gives you an earful. Oh, it's gonna sting, you mark my words. I need to actually look up what Popeye sounds like, because I honestly kind of forget.
So, you will both testify before the court on the subject of the illegal consumption of the Ultimate Gas Company's fuel. Ultimate, yeah.
Yes, is this clear, my good man? Clear as ultimate gas, my lady. Which is the clearest in the world. I feel like I have this dude too high-pitched, but whatever, it'll work. Alright. Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Mrs. Sato? Who knows? We'll see if that's true or not next time on Great Ace Attorney 2. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ja, mata ne.